Welcome to my nightmare, even though I'm wide awake. I've spent the night wrestling with my sheets, and so far, the sheets are winning. I never sleep well, and I'm not alone. Look out my window, and there are insomniacs everywhere. They say that a third of us have serious trouble sleeping. For all I know, there are millions of people, maybe even billions, who spend the night up stirring milk, like me. I'm a sensitive sleeper. I don't sleep when it's too hot or too cold, too noisy or too quiet. The truth is, I haven't slept like a baby since I was one. I'm part of a modern-day malaise that's leaving many people exhausted.
It feels like I'm a car that's low on oil. And so everything's sort of grinding and cranking.
You just can't push through this dull, foggy sensation. You're just sort of going through the motions of life.
As a society, we are all chronically sleep deprived. And sleep deprivation is making us clumsy, stupid, and dead.
Try to have a siesta. In Spain, everybody has a siesta, and you awake like a new man.
I'm tired of being tired. I'm going to find the cure for my insomnia. I'm going in search of sleep. This is the last time most of us enjoyed the bliss of carefree sleep, and some of us didn't even get it then. According to my mother, I was born a restless sleeper.
You were a terrible headbanger. You used to put yourself to sleep by getting on your knees and rocking back and forth and banging your head against the headboard, and we could hear that bang, bang, bang. And one morning we got up. The crib was out in the hallway. I don't know, you had maneuvered it out of the door of the room somehow.
What did you do?
We worried about it and actually went to discuss it with the doctor, and he said, a lot of kids do it. Don't worry, he'll grow out of it. Actually, you didn't.
My insomnia obviously has deep roots. I'd better talk to a sleep doctor, and I think I know where to find one. Sleeping on the job is part of the job here at the annual World Sleep Symposium.
Sleeper, one of our best. We have electrodes and sensors hooked up to all spots on her body.
There's definitely some noise in the EKG.
5,000 sleep scientists have gathered here to schmooze about snooze. They specialize in every kind of sleep disorder, and they're kicking around problems like restless leg syndrome, twitching arm, and grinding teeth. You can even buy a state-of-the-art sleep monitor that measures your nightly brainwaves.
This is our sleep device here, and it's showing his airflows, and it is the smallest device available to do a full polysomnography sleep study.
Bad sleep is good for business. Here in the U.S., more than 13 million people use sleeping pills, the top prescription drug after birth control. The hottest gizmo for sale is an anti-snoring air mask for apnea, a condition where you stop breathing and keep waking yourself up. Maybe this could help me.
The Comfort series allows you to actually breathe through your nose and through your mouth.
Just going to flip this over. Yeah. Very comfortable.
You would just breathe normally.
Compared to this, insomnia almost looks good. Most of us spend a third of our lives in bed, but it's not as restful as it used to be. Insomnia is spreading across the developed world, from Asia to Europe to North America.
Probably a third of the population is suffering from some kind of a sleep problem. And it's taking a significant toll in terms of public health, public safety, and the well-being of our society. It's really a public health epidemic.
Why is sleep so important anyway? What happens when we go without it? In experiments, people can't function when they're kept awake too long. Like these Czech volunteers who were kept up 5 days. The Guinness record for not sleeping was set in the 1960s by this student who stayed up for 11 days. But he hallucinated so badly, he began to think that street signs were people and that he was a famous football star. William Dement worked on the study, and he's now one of the world's leading sleep experts.
There is a drive to sleep that is so powerful. It's like hunger drive, thirst drive, sleep drive, and that to keep people awake is so difficult at a certain point. It just can't be done. And nowadays, people think that's like torture, and you're not allowed to do it anymore. In animals, if they're kept awake, they die.
Studies show that every species sleeps. But just like humans, there are good sleepers and bad ones. The king of the jungle gets to sleep 18 hours a day. The lowly giraffe, only 3. That's because the best sleepers are the hunters, not the hunted.
The deer in the woods sleep less than 2 hours, while the lion can sleep 20 hours in a row, because he doesn't have to worry about anything. It's not safe for the grazing animals to sleep that long. So those who did were all eaten up.
Do I feel hunted too? What predators are chasing me and stalking my brain at night?
It's 4:58 in the morning, and I'm worrying about all kinds of things that suddenly seem very important. That I pay my Visa bill on time, that I park the car on the wrong side of the street, that I remember to turn off the stove. If I lie here long enough, I'll be worrying about nuclear war.
Am I the only person haunted by late-night fears? Or could this be an evolutionary legacy from our caveman days? Maybe there were always nighttime warriors who guarded the cave while their Paleolithic pals slept. A prehistoric night shift. Today, there are still lots of late-night warriors around. Just ask the scientists at this sleep conference.
How did you guys sleep last night?
Not enough.
Table.
I usually wake up twice a night.
And do what?
Roll around, think about my patients, think about what I didn't do during the day, think about my kids, think about the same things you think about.
They're very trivial things, but I just think about them over and over and over for no reason. I can't stop. I talked to this person that I wanted to impress, and I said something that was stupid. And then, I just keep thinking, why did I say that? Why did I say that? Something like that.
It's almost like you need an off switch,
right.
So when you lay down at night, you can turn your brain off.
Right, yeah, exactly.
When I start having difficulty falling asleep at night, I start thinking about my patients, and I'm thinking, I'm becoming like them. I'm becoming like, and you have to get yourself out of that thought process. because then you could become like them.
It's like we give ourselves sleeping disorders trying to help other people. It's kind of ironic.
Looking back over history, there have always been bad sleepers. The word insomnia goes back to the Latin insomnus, without sleep. An ancient Egyptian proverb goes, "The worst thing is to be in bed and sleep not." Many great figures were poor sleepers, from Charlemagne and Leonardo da Vinci to Isaac Newton, Benjamin Franklin, Van Gogh, Catherine the Great, and legions of others awake in the dark.
They talk about the night before the battle, Caesar couldn't sleep, or they're up at the campfires and things like that. And I think most of the time it's stress-related.
Napoleon claimed that he didn't sleep very much. And then we find the Battle of Waterloo, where his commanders are reporting the fact he is so sleep-deprived that he stumbles around and he makes bad decisions.
In music, one of the most famous classical pieces ever is Bach's Goldberg Variations, written to entertain an insomniac diplomat. I guess these are the Josh variations. This is home video of me in bed all night, and I'm studying it to see what I do wrong. Unlike some insomniacs, I can fall asleep, but 3 hours later, I start waking up again and again. On this night, I woke up 121 times. What keeps waking me up? Some nights, the room feels too stuffy, or too chilly, or the pillow just seems too hard. The clock keeps reminding me that I'm going to be a wreck the next day. Unlike my wife, a great sleeper on the other side of the bed. She isn't even disturbed by me, let alone all those sounds that drive me crazy at night.
There's many things in the bedroom that can disturb sleep. It's so important that it's worth really confronting. I want the best pillow, the best mattress, the best bed covers, the quietest environment, because that's so important. People spend, what, $50,000 on a car and $2,000 on a bedroom? That's ridiculous.
Some studies show that just getting the right mattress can add 40 minutes to your sleep. But what's right for one may be wrong for the other.
Can you feel me rolling into you?
No, actually.
No?
No.
I
Feels
feel you.
good.
I do feel you bouncing around a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah. It's too firm for me.
Nilo Zanetta has been making beds for half a century and says it's getting harder to put people to sleep.
My parents slept on a hard, small bed. How come I'm so fussy?
In the old days, we didn't complain as much as we do today. 30 or 40 years ago, they almost slept on anything. They just went to work, came home, and went to sleep, and that was it.
Because they were tired.
They were tired. They work a lot harder than we do today. And today, North American society is a soft society. We like the softness and the comfort.
Think you can make me a bed I can sleep on?
I can
all
almost
night?
I can almost guarantee it.
Nilo promises to make a custom bed just for me. And as usual, he does it right on his factory floor here at Restwell Mattress. He starts with the latest space-age foam, literally, because it was invented by the U.S. military.
That's what they use in NASA.
The astronauts.
The astronaut. Same thing, okay?
This is for sleeping in space.
That's right.
Nilo moves me through an endless array of fabrics and foams. Some are ultra soft, others rock hard.
Actually, I don't know. You're supposed to be comfortable or you're supposed to be tortured by your bed. The bed should be so that it hugs you and you want to go to bed.
Dozens of mattress tests later, we're down to our 2 final contestants.
How do you find it out?
This could be the most important decision of my life. Ooh, that's the best.
See?
That's the best one you've done.
My new $2,000 mattress won't be delivered for weeks. That'll give me a chance to look deeper into this source of my sleeplessness. The truth is, it's getting harder for everyone to sleep in a world that never shuts down. Who's got time to snooze when you can go shopping at 2:30 in the morning?
It's early. Usually I'm here at 4.
Like, I'm a night person, so yeah, I do all my shopping at night. Sometimes I don't sleep at all. I sometimes stay up for 5 days at a time. Because I can't sleep.
The man behind modern insomnia was Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb hoping to eliminate sleep, which he considered a waste of time. With the flick of a switch, he changed the way we slept. Before Edison, people went to bed when it got dark and woke up with the light, and we averaged more than 9.5 hours per night. Since Edison, we've cut back to 7 hours, and many people try to get by on less, whatever the consequences.
If we are always rushing, I think we burn out faster. If everybody has to produce more, everybody has to run faster, everybody has to be more efficient. And I think we should sleep more in our society than we do now.
Studies in the U.S. show that fatigue costs billions of dollars and 25,000 lives a year in car crashes and other disasters. Even the Chernobyl nuclear accident was blamed on a sleepy technician.
There's that belief that sleep is unproductive downtime. But we have not had the time for evolution to change us into the 24/7 animal. We are still in the body of that same character who hid in the cave and slept for 10 hours. That's what our physiology is about.
Biology shows that we all have internal body clocks that are set by the arrival of night and day. But today, they're being thrown off by our 24-hour world of light. Many of us now float in a twilight zone, our bodies unsure when to sleep. Maybe that's why armies of exhausted people visit sleep clinics each year, desperate to get 40 winks. And it's time I joined them. I've come to the Toronto Sleep Disorders Clinic to be studied while I snooze. My sleep will be monitored by the clinic's all-night staff. They'll study me on a small camera and measure my brainwaves. They wire up over 3,000 patients a year, says the clinic's chief of staff.
We can actually monitor you while you sleep to see what kind of problems are you having. Do you snore? Do you grind your teeth? Do you stop breathing? Do you thrash around a lot? Do you have seizures while you sleep? We actually collect the equivalent of 800 to 1,000 pages of data, and we'll know how you slept even before you wake up and tell us tomorrow morning.
Now, I brought my own pillow. Can that mess up your results?
Pillow is fine, teddy bear, that's pretty much where we draw the line.
The clinic is looking to see if I get the right kind of sleep. The 4 progressively deeper stages of sleep that will rest my body, and the lighter dreaming or REM sleep that recharges my mind.
It's a bit of a myth that, all you need is the dreaming sleep and you'll be fine in order to feel psychologically more alert the next day and more refreshed. However, you also need the deep non-dreaming sleep stages in order to feel physically more refreshed and restored the next day.
I'm just going to tie all the wires up in a ponytail in the back here.
Feels vaguely like an appliance.
And then you're all set for the night.
So what brings you here, Michael?
Some patients are easily cured, like my slumber partner, Michael Ragabeer, who was exhausted from not sleeping. The clinic discovered he had apnea, a breathing problem that woke him up constantly.
Over the course of one night's sleep, I stopped breathing about 280 times during the night. Actually stopped breathing. When you stop breathing long enough, you're not alive anymore.
Michael sleeps better since the clinic gave him an air mask.
Now I'm able to do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do. Run around with the kids instead of just sitting down somewhere and falling asleep.
For others who come to sleep clinics, the problem turns out to be their partners.
He wakes me up, just either moving around, being restless in bed, and then I would go in another room. So we're not even sleeping together right now. We miss snuggling and cuddling and, all of that stuff. We do miss it, but we need the sleep more.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Lights out?
Okie doke.
Good night. Have a good sleep.
Easy for her to say. Maybe it's the lumpy mattress. Or the wires strapping me to the bed. Or the cameras watching my every move. But I'm way too wired to be tired.
Here we are, 3:59 in the morning. Almost everyone is asleep in the sleep lab. Here's a patient in room 1, sleeping fine. They have been for some time. And this is Michael Ragabeer. He's in a deep sleep. We'll look over and see how Josh is doing. And Josh is still awake, tossing and turning, wide awake at 3:59. There is an insomniac in the house tonight.
So, doctor, how did I make out? I'm feeling pretty groggy this morning.
Well, as you know, you didn't have the best night's sleep. You, like perhaps millions of others, didn't actually get enough sleep last night. You only got 2 or 3 hours of sleep altogether, and that may explain why you're feeling the way you are today.
According to the data, all kinds of things kept waking me up. From my snoring, to some breathing problems, to a leg that twitches.
So if you look at the whole picture, you basically jumpstart yourself awake so that you'll start breathing again, which may terminate with a kind of a snorting noise, a grunting noise. The legs twitch, the body moves, the brain wakes up, you go back to sleep again.
How would you rate that as a night's sleep overall?
4 out of 10. We've seen better.
For all my problems, the doctor says I don't have a physiological disorder. I'm just a run-of-the-mill insomniac with a racing mind. He recommends that I get some relaxation therapy, which leads me to a new destination on my quest for rest.
Next stop, California.
San Francisco is the New Age health capital of the world, pushing less stress and more sleep. My first stop is with Chinese acupuncturist Heidi Cao, who gets right to the point.
This is great for insomnia. It's called the Buddha's Triangle because it's a lot of yin energy. Yin is what helps us sleep because we're all yin and yang. Men have too much yang, and so it's hard for them to kind of settle down and sleep. So women are the more yin creatures. That's why you need to bring more yin into your life. Ooh, that's strong.
Ooh.
What does it feel like?
Pain.
The after effects help you sleep.
I did sleep a little better with my extra yin, but not enough to go back for more pins. Next stop, something called Ayurvedic healing, which dates back to ancient India.
Just apply a little bit on the third eye.
Okay.
So why don't you try that yourself?
The third eye.
Yes. What this does is cools the overheated mind. You have a lot of fire in you. And any man that has prematurely balding head, we say that the fire actually burns the hair off the head.
That's the explanation.
Oh, okay.
Healer Deborah Riordan also says I suffer from too much thinking. She prescribes some relaxing herbal teas, as well as some soothing New Age tapes. To calm my busy brain, she passes me over to her colleague George Lakis, who provides a hot oil mental massage.
The whole procedure of Shirodara calms the mind and releases any emotions that might be harbored deep within the mind. The relaxed state that you'll experience when you get up off the table should help you sleep better at night.
My next treatment is called Wild Goose Qigong. This age-old Taoist system is based on the graceful movements of wild geese.
It's back up, front down. Back up, front down.
So it all depends who's doing the moving. My instructor, Bingen Hu, says he can cure my insomnia by getting my energy field, or qi, in line with the Earth's gravitation.
And this is what we call microcosmic orbit. The Earth is circling around the sun, and so our qi is circling around our body. Yeah, very good.
According to the master, my qi is not what it should be. So he gives my energy field a psychic tune-up.
Your qi is kind of blocked, so I try to use the influence of my palm to bring the energy down. So right away you feel, I can open up, and then you can breathe.
And sleep.
And sleep, yeah.
Frankly, this feels like a wild goose chase. As for my other New Age therapies, they did help me relax and fall asleep quickly, but they didn't stop me from waking up during the night. Besides, they're just too time-consuming, and I may have found a quicker fix for my sleep. I'm going to dip my toe in a flotation tank, an oversized bathtub filled with salt water. They say it's just like floating in the Dead Sea.
It's deeply relaxing. It's a meditative state. People meditate to reach that state. 1 to 2 hours of sleep in the tank is roughly the equivalent of 6 to 8 hours of sleep in your bed because of that deeper state of relaxation that it puts you in. So it can help you to sleep tremendously.
Unfortunately, 1 hour of not sleeping in here is like 8 hours of insomnia. It's lonely, it's wet, and it's painful.
My neck hurts, and I hate sleeping on my back, I realized. Because you can't sleep in the fetal position because you sink, and I hate sleeping on my back. It's terrible. It's sort of like being dead, only more boring. It's practice for being dead.
Did you sleep?
Are you crazy? Sorry, no, really, it's just I don't know how anybody sleeps in here.
It's time for a more practical approach. San Francisco is bedding down, but one group will not go gently into that good night. It's Stanford University's Insomnia Support Group, where yawners unite.
Welcome to the Insomnia Group. I'm Dr. Kuo, and I welcome every one of you. My job here is to help you learn about sleep so that you can be a better sleeper.
These are my kind of people. They all start winding up when they should be winding down.
My name's CJ, and I'm just coming down from, I'd say, about 6 weeks of not sleeping well. I feel like other people have these natural cycles, and then they get tired and they get sleepy and they get to go to sleep, but I don't. I stay awake.
My name is Carol, and my insomnia started, I think, probably around 15 years ago. And I would lay awake and wait and watch the clock and then begin to worry about the fact that I had to be up at 7 tomorrow and it's 5 right now. And even if I get to sleep, I'm going to feel awful. And so the anxiety would sort of build up. It was just horrifying.
When my husband feels stress, he sleeps better. I mean, you're just watching them sleep, and it's so annoying. But so why is it that they can just conk out? They can't even keep their eyes open.
He didn't try to sleep. Trying harder doesn't work with sleep because trying is an awake activity. So it's totally an antithesis of sleep, and therefore sleep is harder to come.
The people here have taken a 6-week course in better sleep. And everyone has learned techniques to push away their nighttime worries.
So I have a visual image that sometimes helps. I see myself at a conveyor belt, and these and boxes, empty boxes, are coming down the conveyor belt. And I put whatever is bothering me in the box. Believe me, I have tried everything to try and sleep. I'm a lifelong non-sleeper.
I keep books that are boring.
Yeah,
But
you're going to say that.
you can't have a book that's too interesting or it keeps you up. So I have The History of Civilization by Will and Ariel Durant. It's like a 14-volume history book. If that doesn't put me to sleep, nothing does.
I've picked up dozens of tips from the people here, and I've tried them all. Night masks, earplugs, even a nose strip to help me breathe better. As for my new space bed, it's pretty flexible, and it gives me a precious half hour of extra sleep. My top 5 tips are writing an anxiety list of things to worry about before I go to bed, turning the clock around so I won't get nervous about the time, getting up after 20 minutes if I can't sleep, waking up at the same time every day to set my body clock, and most importantly, exposing myself to bright sunlight for half an hour to convince my body it's daytime. Once it knows that, it should know when it's bedtime too. But the truth is, insomnia is hard to cure, and my problem may never go away.
I think Tracy made that very clear to us, that if insomnia is a problem, and you're probably going to basically have it forever, and I know I will fall off the wagon or whatever you want to call it, but I know how to not panic about it.
I don't call myself an insomniac because I think when you start labeling yourself like that, you have this self-fulfilling prophecy. But I do admit and accept that I probably will have some difficulty sleeping for the rest of my life.
Is this the best I can do? A lifetime of struggling with the dark? Instead of fighting my insomnia, maybe I should embrace it by trying an entirely different way of sleeping that works for millions of people all over the globe.
Que no había enamoramiento, que las causas de mi estar
I've come to a city where no one sleeps much, because half the population is up half the night. This is a Wednesday night, but people here will be dancing until 4 a.m. Everyone in this town stays up late. Even many children don't go to bed before 11 p.m. in training for their future as night owls. In this country, the nightly TV news starts at 2 a.m. This is Carlos Telmo, a well-known night owl and radio host. Like many in Seville, he hates to waste his night in bed, like North Americans do.
To go to sleep at 11 o'clock, so boring. You miss a lot of things that they are happening outside. The life is fantastic. We don't have time to see everything that is happening outside of us. I prefer to sleep less and to go to bed late, but I will try to have a little siesta, always.
This is a city of insomniacs, but they're successful insomniacs, unlike me. The next morning, the whole town is alive, fueled on espresso. Exhaustion does catch up with people at midday as the temperature rises, but everyone has the same remedy. At 1 o'clock sharp, almost every store in this town of 300,000 people shuts its doors, even pharmacies. Seville becomes a ghost town as everyone heads home for a sacred ritual that's older than their nation. Like many families here, the Olivaras come home from work every lunch for a family snooze. Together. This is a 6-room house, but you'd never know it during siesta.
La duermo los 365 días del año, ¿eh? Y si algún día, por reunión del centro, una mala leche, tengo enseguida mal humor. Ahora mismo, a esta hora, todos mis compañeros están durmiendo la siesta. Todo el mundo. Es la hora de la siesta.
I've always found it even harder to sleep in the day than at night. But this is the place to learn. The rules for siesta are posted right on the wall. Using a bed isn't recommended for a nap, although there's debate over the best method. This man swears by the 2-chair technique.
Lo he arrimado y es muy eficaz. Y la postura esta, y entonces me suple perfectamente. Es como empezar otro día por la mañana. O si no lo hago, estoy enfadado, estoy cansado, estoy fatal.
Others argue in favor of the sofa, if they can get it.
My mom take a nap in a chair and my father go to the bed. And my big brother and I, we are fighting for the first one who take the sofa and the other has to go to a room. It's a fight every siesta.
En verano es mejor aquí. Es mejor aquí. En invierno ese es el mejor sitio.
Los leones nuevos en el territorio
Most people sleep with the TV on at full volume. They watch wildlife documentaries that run every day during siesta.
La televisión es fundamental para poder dormir la siesta. Absolutamente fundamental. Los documentales de animales, la gacela, el tigre, el león. Y tú, Terminamos de comer, ponemos los animalitos de las dos. Ay, por favor, qué gusto. Estaba deseando que llegara la siesta.
Ahora es cuando la madurez y la experiencia
In minutes,
se hacen
the
notar.
whole family is asleep, oblivious to our cameras or anything else.
¿Cómo te sientes después la siesta?
En la gloria. Porque recupero toda la fuerza y toda la energía. Mi marido y yo, las noticias de las 2 lo escuchamos todos los días a las 2 de la madrugada y a partir de ahí nos acostamos. Dormimos menos por la noche porque dormimos en la siesta. Es el sentido de la siesta, fundamentalmente.
The siesta is fantastic. Siesta is like the gazpacho, like the bullfighting. We should export the siesta and sell the copyright.
Despite its benefits, the siesta is under assault by the modern world and our non-stop schedule. Italy, France, and Greece have all abandoned their siesta, and Portugal is going the same way. Even Madrid is losing the habit because tired commuters don't have time to return home. Many Spaniards fear their country could eventually become like North America, where citizens are all walking zombies. But here in southern Spain, the defenders of the siesta are fighting back with a modern solution that might even work in my part of the world.
Hola Laura, vengo a que me des una siestecita, que estoy muy cansado. Me voy a hacer una siesta.
Welcome to the Siesta Parlor, a haven for those who refuse to give up their afternoon nap. You start with a quick massage to get relaxed, and then it's sweet dreams for 30 minutes.
When I get up from the siesta, yes, I feel excellent. I feel a new person. Because when you sleep siesta, you disconnect. Your problems disappear.
Carlos, how did you? How was your siesta?
Fantastic. 15 minutes more or less. Perfect. My hair.
So what's it like to sleep here compared to home?
Well, I prefer to sleep at home, but it's not bad. Not bad at all.
At 5 o'clock, everyone returns to their job, ready to work again till 9 p.m. But Carlos just heads off to a street party, where locals are fired up for another 10 hours of fun. The siesta has science on its side. Experts say our bodies are wired to slow down twice a day, at night and again after lunch.
The siesta is perfectly sensible because it's right there in the middle of that slump. So you get to sleep out that time when your body is saying sleep. And that's about the time, by the way, which most primates tend to take their afternoon nap.
Before I leave Seville, Carlos invites me home for a siesta lesson.
For me, it's very important to put my head here, you know, in the arm.
I'm watching you.
Yeah. And that's it. Relax. Think in anything you want, but you don't think about your job. Eh?
What do I think about?
I don't know, a nice thing that you like at your next holidays or whatever you want.
Okay.
And relax.
Carlos drops off in seconds, but will this work for me? I'm not so sure. Maybe I need practice. Two days later, and all of Seville is asleep. Even the odd tourist. I think I'm getting the hang of this. Olé! So where does my long journey into night lead? And why do I have to sleep anyway? The U.S. military is working on drugs that could someday conquer the dark and eliminate our need to sleep, achieving Thomas Edison's dream of an endless day. But would that really make our lives better?
The rhythm of life would be disturbed. Starting a new day, having new ideas, sitting down in the evening and saying, thank God I'm finished, I did a good day, I can now unwind. Those are the things that will be disturbed.
Our modern battle against the night may be doomed. It seems we will only vanquish sleep by sleeping more.
Someday somebody's going to look at our sleep habits and say, my God, you know, what were these Neanderthals doing? Didn't they know that lack of sleep was harmful?
At least one Stone Age sleeper is finally changing his ways. In recent months, I've actually started to sleep better by using all my new sleep tricks, as well as taking the odd siesta. And when I can't sleep, at least I have lots of advice echoing in my head.
You could just listen to some nature sounds of waves crashing. Something soothing.
Once you have difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep, you have difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep. So I just try and think, get rid of that thought, get to sleep.
Trying harder doesn't work with sleep because trying is an awake activity.
You have to completely disconnect. Sure, you are dead, completely dead, sleep. And you awake, boom, like a new man.
Sleep. Sleep. That's what nights are for.
At the end of the day, the best solution is just to forget about my problem. Because I've learned that worrying about sleep only keeps you awake. The experts I've met all say it's best not to talk about your insomnia, or even think about it. So from now on, I'm going to stop thinking and start sleeping. It's just a question of mind over mattress.